Hi, so Duffer here, and that is a hybrid fuel sender, half Mark 3 and half Mark 5. That bit's Mark 5. I went to rejoin the cable. I don't know why somebody thought cutting the cable was going to improve the situation, but basically, if I turn it round, the Mark 5, which is on the outside, it was the right diameter internally. If that hadn't had a bend on the bottom, that would have slid over and I could have just nipped it at the top, as I've done there, but I'd slit it and then squeeze it back and nip it up in position on there. And when this is in the full position, it shows just under full tank, and in the empty position where we are now, when it sits in the tank, if I go back a bit, it sits like that. You can see the flow is above the bottom pickup, so we're not going to run out. But on the gauge in the cab, if I can get this to focus properly. If you look there, we've got the needle is right off the end of the scale at the moment because nothing's on. You've got a red mark and a white line. It sits just on the white line and not on the red when it's empty. So we'll take that as you need fuel, and that's the important one. Because I can't dip the tank, it's got like an S-bend in it, otherwise I'd use a stick. And I'll always set the trip, assuming the trip works of course. Being a biker with never had fuel gauge on my bikes, you always set the trip, and I know how far I can go on a tank full before I hit reserve, so we'll treat this one the same, but it's an indication, which is, you know, the important one. So there you go, get me out of trouble type repair. Somebody on Evil Bay has got a brand new Mark 3 fuel sender, genuine Ford in a box, and it was 250 quid for it. So that was 50 quid second hand and a little bit of jiggery pokery, and we're back in business. So that one will do for me. Right, on to the next job. Prop shaft centre bearing. Yuck. Right, once you've wrestled the stupid thing out, because it gets stuck on those flanges on the diff and on the gearbox is an absolute sod. What do you reckon the likelihood of that grease nipple being used in recent decades? Basically, to get these stupid bearings off, because it's rubber mounted. This is the one that's gone. This one, yeah, this one's fell to pieces. Watch on the camera. There you go. You can see it's all cracked up and not happy chappy. And I've got a second one, and I'm going to replace both of them because it's such a pain in the arse. But basically, you see that nut in there, get the camera right place. That bolt in there, you got to knock the tab washer off and undo it, and hopefully tap this off. Then that will come off. Times 2. Marvellous. So wish me luck. Right, beat the thing off, and they're only a little sort of push fit, but they corrode up, and it just sits on that bit of shoulder there. All the seals jam up, so I'm going to clean all this up before I put it back together, get it shot your bug. Right, I'm going to do this end and then put it all back together in one go. So, and you just think, really, did it need to have two with that, just that tiny bit of shaft in the middle? Because it's had a 5-speed conversion, so this would have been longer. It's obviously been shortened many moons ago and welded. So yeah, I will clean all this up and get it all put back together. From that point, let's make a mess, clean up, and then back she goes. So I'll see you in a bit. Right, there we go, in a bazillion bits. I've also cleaned the ends up with a wire wheel on the angle grinder. I did the same on the gearbox and on diff because it was stuck to the diff, and I will put copper slip all over this and all in here, and all the bolts that go in, and I will replace that grease nipple in a minute that gets there, and it will get greased. I have noticed that, I think it's this one, yeah, there's a notch on the, it's obviously running in that position there, because it's got a notch where it's worn in one place. More so that's going to need replacing. So there's a company we use in London who did the prop for the Bedford, because these are, from what you can see, they're actually got like a pressed in retaining ring. I don't have the gear to get that out, so I need to get them to put a set of UJs in it for me. Not now, we'll get it on the road, and then I'll see if I can run it up to them and get it done. I'll have the whole lot done in one go. I can't be bothered to mess about. And I'm also hoping that somebody, when they did the shortening of this, they marked all this up with an arrow pointing to where it joined up on its various bits. I'm hoping they balanced it. We'll find out, because I've never driven this down the road, so next week hopefully I'll come drive it and we'll see if we've got a vibration at speed, and otherwise it'll have to come off and I'll get the UJs done and it balanced all in one go. There's no point mucking about. Anyway, back shortly. Right, prop shaft reinstalled, copper slip between all of the mating faces. Hopefully they won't rust on, because it's going to have to come out again for me to do the UJs. Get the UJs done, I should say. I have greased all that up now, so that's good. But while we were messing with this, I heard the loader, farm loader running, and I've been expecting a delivery. I'm expecting a delivery of lots of stuff actually, but here's a poor old RL got banished to outside while we're doing the transit. But excuse me, come around here. We've had special delivery. They've been on the farm all their lives. That's obviously been left under a plastic sheet and really badly corroded. They're both free and turning, even though it's got no plug in it. But this one's on a industrial base with the fuel tank, which is usually right in the missing. Both carbs are free. This one has, you can get out the sunlight, that is a document tube that would have had its owner's manual in. They are normally long since gone and missing, but it's there, so we'll get these in and have a bit better look at them. Well, what have I done? I just sold a load of stationary engines to clear some space, unlock my mags. I used to buy up all the magnetos, all, you know, whatever was available, and repair them as I needed them. These will not work. I'll put money on it. We'll give it a go. The ML, it's got a broken HT connector anyway. That one, the chances of them working are pretty slim. But I bet if you gave these valves a regrind and put a decent plug in and get a spark, I'll bet they'll go. Without needing loads doing to them. I mean, it's not what I normally do. I normally strip them and completely rebuild them, do any machining work that's needed, unlike the paint pot merchants who just paint everything with an inch of his life. I will probably blow these off, clean them up, put a plug in the plug hole, pour a bit of oil down the balls first to keep them free, leave them up and put them away somewhere. At the moment I don't have time to deal with it. Maybe see if I can trace another hopper, a barrel and head assembly for that one. If somebody's interested in seeing me rebuild one or wants to do one, let me know. We can go from there. They are complete, as I have both starting handles. I'll just kind of go from there with it really. I know I'm going to get told off. There is a couple of CS diesels to go with these, but they're both missing bits, both locked up, and they're both 5.1 CS diesels. All these engines and stuff, a lot of them were on this farm, but the current landlord's grandfather, who owned the farm, it's a family run farm, was very into his stationary engines, and he collected all sorts, right up to big Rustons, you know, sort of 15-foot flywheel jobs, you know. They've always been in bits. I've never seen them go. They've been having a bit of a clear out, and I got offered these amongst other things, and I have a soft spot for the lift rays. I used to have one that we bought locked up solid for a spares engine, and it was so good inside that I unseized it and completely rebuilt it, and it used to run a generator, and it ran all day at 1500 watts. Running, it was boiling the water all day long, and it would use about 3 litres of fuel. Incredibly good on fuel. But I know, interestingly, we've got really heavy duty flywheels on this one. I'll have to get my list A and B book out and get the serial numbers and see when they were made, and see if we can glean any information. So that's it for now. Anyway, I'll put this little lot of clips together, and be back for the alternator video on the transit. Ta-ra for now.